And we're live on another Sunday night. Very casual way to just sit around and try to get things going with updates. There's this function. I gotta try this out. I don't know if it's background noise the whole time. I don't know if it is it better. Hey Matsuda 265. Yeah, this week I got quite a number of updates. Um, we are working on a couple of things. This week has been a little bit eventful because we're getting ready for Switzerland. We haven't quite go on full power and full energy on the promotion of Switzerland because typically the promotional peak period is, I mean, literally the week of, right? So it kind of ramps up, and we kind of technically don't want to do too much promotion too early because it could lead to some promotional burnout. But at the same time, you don't want to not do anything at all and kind of waste it, right? In marketing, there's always that rule of thumb of three, the power of three, where if you see something three times, that's when you'll want to get something, right? So imagine this. If you're going down the freeway and you see a billboard that says, "Hey, go and try this sushi restaurant," right? When you see it once, you might be like, it's okay, not that big of a deal about, it's just some sushi restaurant. But if you start driving down the road and you see another, and then and another, and it's usually about three times before it's like, you know what? I think I got to go try this sushi restaurant now, right? So that's why you still want to start early, but you don't want to go too crazy. So Mo Hunter asks, Neil said he talked to a few of the top guys who said they are losing interest given how things have been going. Losing interest in what sense? Like promotional stuff? What's happening there? GB19 asks, hi Dexter, was Kirk's Utah shooting near your ear? Dude, don't get me started on that thing, man. It was like 20-25 minutes from my house. Literally 20-25 minutes from my house. It's that was it shocked me. It shocked me, shocked all my partners, it shocked people around me because of how close that was to us. And we were in a little disbelief, right? I mean, I mentioned this fear of like not knowing like when your life could end. I mean, Charlie was just like boom, and next second they say hitting one of your jugglers with the instant blood loss, like you just pass out. So in some ways it was a good thing because he didn't feel anything, but I mean that the chances of survival, even in an operating theory, if that happened, is almost next to none, right? So it kind of shook us all up a little bit. I mean, everybody didn't dare to travel. Like all my businesses were kind of dead the following day. It is, oh, that was pretty bad. But yeah, it was super close. It was super close. I literally have friends who were there in the venue, and I don't know, peace with Charlie's family for sure. It's a very unfortunate thing when there is a disagreement and due to some mental illness, they had to resort to an extreme action such as this to make their point. And I wish instead of holding a gun, he would line up and debate Charlie instead of trying to silence him in a cowardice way. So, well, now about all the negativity. Next question. Gazzo, what are your thoughts on possibly changing the pin pads to a string for better visibility? We have talked about this. We have talked about this in, I think it was last week or the week before that. about not a string, but maybe sort of a strap, just to so you can always tell if you're level. Because if it's strapped and you're level, the camera's at eye level, it's always just going to be a really thin line. But if you're off level, then you'll see you see more of the strap. So we have talked about this. Those are still in exploratory phase. Something major as that will require a little bit more testing. Yeah, testing. That's Drew. Hey, it's up, Drew. Benji's in town. Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to talk about arm wrestling. So ask me more about arm wrestling, and then I'll get through some of my announcement here. We spoke. Corey Vorum talked about running fouls. This is a very polarizing thing. It's still very polarizing thing. There are a lot of requests for running fouls, but at the same time, it also causes a little bit of confusion sometimes, not knowing what's happening. And yeah, I think Luke Poulter said it best when he says any type of major rule changes would require quite a bit of time for all the refs to get familiar with, because they've been so used to the standard foul system that even changing, no advantage elbow lift, it's okay. Even something minor like that it takes time to train all the refs. Now the refs don't all just use EVW super match rules. I mean, they literally, most of them are in Bulgaria right now, reffing the WAF Worlds final, and so in the back of their head, they have to remember which rule set they're following back and forth, right? And so now to add like 2 levels of complexity on that just makes it quite challenging. So we got to think about that for a second, which is another good reason why I was quite insistent that and surprised that it took this long. But the rule set for EVW is now on our website, including simple things like the table, the details and dimensions of the table, so that any homegrown guy who wants to mess around with making some tables in their back, in the shed or the garage, they can do so because now they have the dimensions that they're required. So is Vitaly still pulling Levan in December, although pulling Jerry in November? We'll get to that in a second. GB19. Why could it be a sensor based on touch? I think if you're doing that, that pad needs to be way big. Okay? Because very often that pins are made due to not it being a physical touch, but actually crossing, from the wrist from the wrist up, it's crossing the plane of that pin, right? So it's crossing a plane versus actually touching. Most of the pins aren't due to a touch, so that plane now all has to be covered with a physical sensor. That's going to be a pretty big thing as well. Drew said, why don't we have a laser? Well, you need to know that the laser needs to end somewhere, so it's burning the other guy's, the other guy's shoulder, because the pin pads are elbow, because the pin pads are higher than the elbow pads, right? Oh, Devon's Forum is back in chat. What's up? I've been talking to him a little bit. I hope that you... Oh, yes. So I do have an update on Alizhan, for sure. I will address the Alizhan thing in a second. The Drew is... Appreciate you responding, Dexter. Thank you very much. Do you... Okay, let's see. Sir Bagels. he asks, do you know the situation with WAF and Bulgaria enough to speak about it? Why are certain athletes from there not allowed to participate in EVW? Um, I I know our relationship with WAF. Not quite sure which certain athletes are not allowed to participate in EVW. Not quite sure on that. So you gotta give me some names. People, let's see. Lethargica Stenga. Hey Dexter, do you think the sport is ready yet for some real inclusivity? For example, the first LGBTQ match. Now, you know, I am a man of science, and I'm inclusive, right? Every Sunday, we are taught to love our neighbor and love everybody around us. So the key word here is love. Okay, so keep that in mind. However, there must also be some level of, being an organizer. We have to be responsible for being as fair as possible, being as just as possible. So if somebody who is trans, for instance, right, we can't have a biological male who identifies as a woman to pull in the women's category. That seems a little bit unfair. So I think I actually have not discussed this with Robert, but I can tell you for a fact I would be opposed to having one of those happen because biologically, men have, with an XY chromosome, that's how I'm defining it, they do have certain advantages when it comes to strength. So I don't think that's something I would support. But I mean, if a transgender person wants to compete in their own category, their biological category, then I have no problems with that. At least that's me, right? So at least that's kind of where I'm getting at. Oh, great thing. Yeah, nobody guessed where I lived. Nobody guessed where I live. In one of the podcasts, I mentioned I live 5 minutes away from the tallest twin towers in the world. So maybe I'll snowball to this thing. I live 5 minutes away from the tallest twin towers in the world when I was growing up. So guess where that is? There's only a few cities that has that. Here's another question. David Simpson. If your opponent purposely fouls to gain advantage and it's a running foul, you can stop pulling and restart. Sometimes in the heat of moment, you kind of lose track of things, and like having external sort of direction in the middle can be kind of complicated as well, right? Especially if the ref does not speak the same language as you. That might be a problem. And he's like, what? Foul? Me foul? Oh, okay. And then he stops, right? But he was just about to pin the other guy, for instance. And he was like, foul? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just... I understand that it does allow matches to keep going on. But there's also distinct disadvantages and cons for that as well. I do see the appeal, but I think from an operational standpoint, to implement this could cause a lot of confusion. It's like, oh, the guy pinned, but why is the score not going up, right? So even the viewers, I remember I was watching like an event that had the running fouls, and I'm like, oh yeah. Wait, what? Did the camera, did the vision mix guy screw up and not add a point to the guy? And then like, I still remember even the athlete themselves were like, wait, what just happened? Like after he pins, like, I didn't win. So there is also a lot of that educational thing. Like every time we introduce a change, we have to think about educating the public and the athletes. So we got to be a little bit careful of what we choose to pick when we update stuff, which is critical. If we do, we need the buy-ins, and it slowly transitions into that mode. So okay, so Sir Bigel's follow-up, Svethan, Gashkevki and Jordan Sonev. Let me ask right now, because I am not familiar with that. I'm gonna ask the my WAF team why these Jordan. I do recognize the one name, Svetan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Svetan. He's a lightweight Kings mover. So I do recognize that name, but I'll find out. Let's see. Does Devon need permission from EVW to do shows like Survivor? I do think. I think with Devon's charisma, he'll be good character on that show. Dude, that guy would dominate. He's probably not allowed to get on shows like Survivor. Like, you saw how much he hated the Cole, and when he did that Cole plunge challenge against Robert. Okay, well, to be fair, Robert's no slouch, and I bet everybody, one of you guys, saw how good Robert was. But Devon, who hates the Cole, right? He himself had when he came off, the back of his skin and everything turned gray. And what's worse was his manager, Lyle, was real upset. It's like, dude, that is so dangerous. We can't do this ever again. It's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do it. So let's think of something else to compete in. Maybe like a food eating contest or something. But we can't do this anymore. So he's mentally strong. Like, he would almost like, I'll die before I get out of this pool. Like, I'm trying to remember if we edited the part out, but like those two, like Robert and Devon, refused to come out first. Like, they were like faking each other out, and like, I'm coming out, but you come out first, right? They were just that strong. Like, I did cold plunge beforehand, man. I still get like some PTSD thinking about that, being as cold and as long as they were. So mentally, I think he's very, very strong. And so in terms of permission, no, he doesn't. But usually they do courtesy checks. Courtesy checks meaning verifying that there is no conflict with an EVW event, because ultimately EVW's event is his top priority. Now, Devon, he goes around promoting the sport. He travels and polls at after polls, being special guests. Yeah, they just usually want to coordinate them, just make sure that we don't kind of have a conflict, and then he'll have to miss an event because he was out being a special guest somewhere. So other than that, no. Matter of fact, actually, I would really love it. We are in about the next few days. We should be releasing a video on the Diesel Brothers collaboration to basically, if any of our arm wrestlers, not just Devon, gets an opportunity to be on a international show, just like Survivor, we would support that, because if they become famous, they'll help popularize the sport. So why would we hold them back from that? Doesn't make sense there. Oh yeah, we are going through the rankings. So maybe the first update that we have is we are finalizing how we are setting rankings and changing rankings. Okay, so I'll give you guys like a quick rundown. Okay, so the ranking systems would be, say, one of the ways. Core rule number 1: when an athlete A beats athlete B, athletes A takes over athletes B rank, and everybody shifts down one spot. Right? This ensures that the ranking always reward the hit-to-hit results. Okay. Now, for a world title match, a champion keeps the title until he's defeated. Okay. If a challenger loses but pushes the champion deep in, example, the challenger was 4-3, right? Best out of 7. So he went 4-3, so close, and he lost to fouls or something. And so we see that, okay, well, his performance should boost his ranking and above athletes who perform worse than the champion. Example, right? Let's just make things up, and I'll just use random. Well, let's just use real names, right? So, example, if somebody, John, you know, I shouldn't use John because John's John Brising. I'll use Sam, right? Sam fought against Levan, and he's world rank number 4. Example, he's ranked number 4, Levan's number 1, and he went 4-0 against Levan. Levan just humiliated him, and boom, 4-0. And so no ranking changes. Okay. Now a new guy comes in, and his name is shoot, I can't even think of another guy's name. Say I want not Bob. Say Gavin. Okay, this is my second brother's name. So Gavin comes in and he loses to Levan as well, but he loses 4-3 to Levan. Okay, so if those two matches were pretty close in time of the year, then perhaps that Gavin is now ranked higher than Sam, so he will overtake Sam because of how close he is. Okay, and same thing with non-title matches. We can use that kind of formula to see how close everything is, and then there's also performance. That's what we call performance against common opponents. Based on that, we can actually move a little bit. We can also look at inactivity rules, right? How long of inactivity before they start dropping in ranks because they have not pulled in that weight category for a while. There is also that. We can also look into recent results, head-to-head matches, performance, common opponents, match score margins. So that there are a lot of systems that we are trying to play with a little bit to try and make it all public, so everybody can see how we make the determination. We don't use the ELO method for super matches necessarily because, okay, example, right? Devon pulls very frequently. Okay, and so from the ELO method, Devon's score could be higher than Levan. But every time he meets Levan, once every 2 years or so, right, he loses to Levan. But based on the ELO ranking, he is higher than Levan. That kind of messes with how we perceive strength, right? So that's why we didn't go with the Levan. This whole approach of using the ELO. So we're going to use that kind of hit-to-hit methodology. So this EVW mascot. Well, are you offering to be one? Let's see. Who's the best Dota player out of all the athletes you played with? I think it's Schoolboy. Schoolboy's MMR is pretty dang high, and he's a pretty good player. He played a character called Invoker, and that's a very high skill cap hero. It's probably like one of the top 3 most difficult heroes to play out of like 120 or something. So it's Schoolboy. Yeah, so I did mention back a VAR system. With enough cameras, the AI will be able to help determine and calculate the angle of and see whether it is a pin or not. So now Kuala Lumpur, it's a weird one. It's like a city. Oh, it's almost like a city-state kind of thing. It's a federal city, so it's a city and a state equivalent. But no, it's not in Kuala Lumpur. It's outside of Kuala Lumpur. I think fouls are done in purpose when in the losing should be an automatic point for the opponent. Too many people use it to restart. So I know in WAF that is a point. I was just talking to the team yesterday that the less familiar, people who are less familiar with the rules, they end up losing sometimes, or they don't take advantage of this as much as they could have, right? The one that I've been recently studying all the matches. Well, recently it was Ayane Takenaka. I was watching her match with Dimitri. Uh, so Dimitri is way more experienced than her. So every time she's in losing position, it was an elbow foul, restart, and then she would come back, right? Then we also have, I think the other one was Valen Lau with Hunter North, and it was the same thing. Hunter was smart, you know, he did the same thing. It could be ingrained in a way where athletes just need to be familiar with our rules and just utilize it as they can. But I will be thinking a little bit more with now. Obviously, I'm not over the arm wrestling rule side. That's a Robert Baxter, so I'll talk to him a little bit, and he'll probably have a much better idea on whether or not to change the rules. We need to think of a good match for Fisher to make an appearance at GVW. That's so everybody who doesn't know, it's Alan Fisher. I think he's known as the Popeye. So I mean, he achieved some level of legendary status. So he definitely deserves the respect. Just like, I mean, we just had that same conversation with Matt Mass a few days ago with Ron Bath. So I met Ron himself. He still looks incredible. He was in Utah for a match called the Underground a couple months ago. He looks pretty good. He does look pretty good. Let's see. WAL perfected the running foul system. It was simple. Organizers at King of Theos or Almros have both running and stop fouls. That can be confusing. Just label all fouls running and it fixes a lot. Okay. Well, that's good. Can you tell us a little bit about Devon's manager? He must be a very good promoting how Devon is doing. I wonder if he was introduced into making of Devon's movie. I think most managers are usually in the shadows, and nothing secret about that. It's just more that they don't need the limelight to, they don't need the spotlight on them, because it should be all about their client, which is in this case the athlete. So he's a pretty level-headed guy. I met him many times. Very rational, very pragmatic, very smart, very capable guy. I like him. He, when he doesn't like something, he says it all right at the bat, and so that we are aware of things. He cautioned me a lot of things as well. He gives us some consultation. Matter of fact, I think I've mentioned it. His name's Lyle, and he was the part of that whole group that at one point, that I accidentally shown the world that I had a group chat with him. It is usually that group chat with Devon, me, Robert, and Lyle. Oh, I think Jody was in there, so we can discuss about schedules, right? Like, hey, Devon has an opportunity to go to so and so. Is this date all good with us? That's usually what that group talks a little bit about. So, yeah. I don't know how much more I can share with about him, but other than that, he's a pretty good guy. And sometimes, I'm gonna say it out loud. I don't know if Jody's watching, but sometimes if you're trying to get to Devon and tell him something, it's like, maybe you should go through Lyle. Lyle operates in a very level-headed way, so we really like him. We really like him. Yes, Houdini. That is that it will be our goal for next week. You know what? I'm gonna write it down right now. Rankings. Okay. We have we are finalizing some sort of a point system as well, but like I mentioned about the ELO, I'm not a super fan about point system because it doesn't reward the ultimate best. It rewards the guy who participates the most. There's good and bad to that too. So let's, there are teams, there are actual teams that I know East Side Arm Wrestling in Singapore. They have an event that we are supporting just to see how it goes over there. So that'll be pretty fun. DJ USA, good evening. Are your matchmakers going to give lower ranked guys a chance at Levan? For example, Michael thought maybe he can beat Devon, but he's a new chance for Levan. Oh, we actually have the next two matches for Levan all lined out. So it'll be a while before that actually happens. But I mean, there is so right now, as of right now, we don't have any plans. But maybe in the future. But for now, Levan's next two matches are kind of pretty ready. Yeah, he does play Invoker. He played Invoker with us. When I was in elementary school, high school, it was actually Counter-Strike first. 1.6 and then to Dota. Dude, if you guys don't know me, I'm like a super nerd. I like computers, I like numbers. I own a chain of game stores, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh. Give me a buff suit because no one wants to see a fat mascot. Macho Man. We actually do have a Macho Man, a guy who comes to our events and he dresses like Macho Man, the wrestler, in yellow suits. Let's see. Devon and Hermes is a good rematch if Vitali is too far out. Potentially. Okay, so let's get going. It's 30 minutes in. It's time for our first announcement. One of the things that I kind of slipped my mind a little bit because I was so focused on our monetized channel, which is YouTube, and it was a massive focus. And about a couple of months back, right, one of the things I did was to remove and completely wipe the ban list, right? This time around, made an update and we completely removed the Instagram ban list. So there is that. We completely removed the Instagram ban list. So we should see that account being a lot more active, super active, that upward trajectory. We also have opportunities to advertise on East versus West. Now, for everybody else, if you guys have a sponsor for many kind of ways, we'll be updating the website soon, and we'll be showcasing sort of, instead of packages, we're gonna be doing more like a menu of different options that you can customize. For instance, hey, I'm a local vendor from Switzerland, and I only want to, I don't care if you're international guys because I don't ship online, but can I have a booth there? Well, that's a level, a type of sponsorships, right? And then there are some that's the opposite, and there are some like, hey, I want more than what you offer. Like, I want you to go on every full match videos that's being released. I would like you to put our logo on the video, right? Those kind of list. So lots of advertising opportunities. Matter of fact, right now my next project is to have an official EVW referees shirt. Okay, so I've been talking to Luke Poulter this morning and yesterday, and the idea is we'll have one that's a shirt, not a collared shirt, and it needs to be comfortable enough because they ref for hours and hours and hours at a time. So they need to be comfortable. Okay. And obviously there'll be EVW. There's opportunities, okay, to have sponsors on the jerseys. And we'll also sell it on our website. So people who refs at other events can also purchase them. So there is that. Advertising it's pretty core. It's actually quite vital. Now, to give people an idea about our reach, we just on our YouTube, we have over 100 million impressions. 100 million impressions just on our YouTube channel per month. Okay. Now, if you extend that by everybody else who creates content, right? Like all the other influencers who uses clips and uses thumbnails and pictures of our videos, you could see that that number skyrockets, right? Back, behind the scenes videos, people well, let's be real, right? Pirates. We have a lot of pirates or people just ripping our content off. I'm likely to believe that our number per month, it's almost 1 billion views. Might sound far-fetched, but based on the data and trend that I see, that every time we have an event, that number hits 1 billion. It's pretty remarkable. Because of this impression, that now it's not views, okay? I'm talking about impressions. Impressions are you see something or like a thumbnail, but not necessarily you click it. But the thumbnail itself, we usually try to incorporate some of the level of sponsorships. Like you can usually see the elbows or this one in Georgia is our last jersey that does not have any sponsors. Because ever since then I've moved to we will only sell jerseys with sponsors, so they're thereby adding a lot more value. And which is why I wore this today, so people could see this is the last version. So if you have a Georgian shirt, this is the very limited edition because this is the last that doesn't have a sponsor on the official jersey. So because of that, right, you could see that arm wrestling is growing. Arm wrestling is really, really growing. Matter of fact, I just want to segue something. There was, I don't know who this guy is. What's his name? Power Dwyer, P-A-O Dwyer or something, who was talking negatively about arm wrestling in response to Brian Shaw's announcement or video. And I'm like, man, that's not how you should conduct, by putting yourself up by talking smack about something else, right? So get this, guys. I want you to check this out. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Let me share. Yeah, Sir Bagels, you're right. Let me share my screen. I want to show you guys something, and that would be pretty cool. Okay, so let's go to. Now I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I do. When we're trying to do some checking. So this is what Google Trends is. So for you guys who are in other industries and you're trying to figure out what is the trend right now. So example, say McDonald's. Okay, so let's check McDonald's example, right? McDonald's, and let's say Wendy's. Is it Wendy's? Okay, so this in the past day, well, let's look for maybe the past month. And it will tell you like the trends, like, okay, well, McDonald's, it's at least twice as popular compared to Wendy's, and they usually follow a similar pattern. It could be the weekends, and so that's usually a spike. That's kind of how I track things a little bit. There are other tools out there that using data you could kind of figure out what to do. Example, so let's say you own a franchise chain, you can go look down and see, well, there's a lot of interest in Hawaii apparently, so maybe let's go figure out how to expand in Hawaii, if you're a McDonald's operator. So let's do something else, right? Let's do 90 days and see if it changes, and then you maybe can see some level of trend. Oh, that's weird spikes. Maybe this day there Wendy's did a special tweet, so let's do strongman. And let's do. Okay, well. First of all, look. Strongman is not even close to where Wendy's is. Let's do arm wrestling. Look at this, guys. So from this, it tells me that okay, well, there's a lot of arm wrestling in around June 15-ish, June 21. This is probably when right after Chicago, where a lot of things were going down. So that's why it explains our spike, that we overtook, strongman quite a bit. But we are close, and there's a lot of times where we crossed and we took over a little bit. Like this is during our event week, so you can see there's a spike, and then strongman came a day, 2 days later as well. The following 2 days, that's why they had a slight delay. But during our event day, we were higher. So this tells me that anybody who's saying that strongman is like significantly, like 10 times, 2 times, 5 times more popular than arm wrestling, I think that was the case maybe a few years ago. Okay, I think that was the case a few years ago, but as of late, I don't think so. Not according to this chart. Okay, now they may say, well, we died down, and I'm like, true. Okay, we died down, but this was September 6th. I think this could be attributed to Hafthor Bjornsson's 510 kilograms deadlift, right? So there, he kept that hype going. Whereas because we normally would have another event pretty soon, about right now in Baku, then we would have also our spike. But so because we're skipping one event, we have the there's just a little bit less excitement down. But generally speaking, I mean, if anybody sees this, it's very hard to say like, well, strongman is significant. I think if we took the mean, well, the average over the whole duration, I think they are right. Strongman is still ahead of arm wrestling, but I wouldn't say like, dude, these guys are like way ahead or anything to brag. So I think that PA Doyer needs to go back and check the data. That is not true. I think they are also on the niche sport. Somebody posted like the chart that we are approaching the intersection point where we'll overtake the strongman. I don't follow the strongman as closely, so I'm not quite as familiar with the trend lines over there. But from an internal perspective, I do see a significant growth, in arm wrestling. We could also do this. Let's see. Let's look at Brian Shaw's YouTube channel. Oh no, I think it's the Shaw Classic, right? Shaw Classic. I'm gonna check this out and see. What do you call it? Let's see the live. Didn't they have a live? Or was it on his personal channel? I'm thinking of the press conference. I think that was done. Oh, maybe it's on Brian's own channel. This would give us a good indicator of where everything is, at least in my point, because it's apples to apples. Is within that same week. Let's see. Pre-game show: Strongest Man on Earth. Strongest Man on Earth. Strongest pre-match. Oh, okay. So press conference. Strongest arm on Earth. Okay, so we have 117,000. Let's see. And then the strongest man on Earth at 25. So, okay, guys, this is really interesting. The strongest man on Earth press conference is 25,000, while we have 117,000. So we have not quite 5 times the. Oh, shoot. I forgot one more thing. Okay, so 117,000. But on East, we also dual stream. Our matches. Let's see, pre-show. It's not the pre-show. Latest pre-show and the mixed press conference. 134. Okay, so just some paper and napkin math. 117 and 134. It's 151,000. No, sorry, 251,000. And they had 25,000. Dude, isn't that 10 times the amount of people watching our press conference versus the strongest man on Earth? Is it really 10 times, guys? Okay. Shoot, I was not showing the screen. Okay. My bad. Okay. So you guys were all very like going crazy. Sorry, I'm just gonna go to. So this is Google Trends. I put in strongman. I put in arm wrestling. See this graph and everything. So this is what I've talked about. Peak here. There's after Bjornsson and then Theo here. So exactly what I'm doing right here. And then I did this. I did Brian Shaw. So sorry, guys. I probably should keep my chat somewhere else so I could see that I have not shared my screen, unfortunately. But what a forget. So I think these press conferences, see, this is 117,000 on the strongest arm. So our press conference is Ray Brown's right there, and then the strongest man, it's 25,000. And then on East versus West, because it was shown in two places, right? So just so that you guys can see the numbers, I'm just doing that. I'm just blown away how great we did. 134,000. So 134, 171, 251, compared to 225,000. So we had 10 times, guys. 10 times the amount. 10 times. Arm wrestling's really on the upward trajectory, guys. 20. Oh man. Ooh, chills, guys. I don't know what you guys feel, because I think it was only a few years ago that everybody's talking about strongman. I think arm wrestling's really catching up. Now, it's not really a competition, really. So it's not like, I also wish strongman. I just wish every strength sport, every combat sport to rise in popularity, and arm wrestling will also benefit from it. But this gives us some sort of it gives me an idea, like a metric of how things are kind of going. So let's see. So I think anybody who's trying to say that arm wrestling is terrible, they deserve a thumbs down, because arm wrestling is, judging from these numbers, it's on the rise. It's literally on the rise. So here's something that we've been talking about. Let's do this real quick, right? So we have arm wrestling, and let's try, if we brought in UFC, right? If we brought in UFC, let's see how we compare. Past day. Oh yeah, arm wrestling doesn't even make any changes. Let's do past 90 days. I like 90 days a little bit better. Yeah, okay. It's sub 1. That's how low we are compared to UFC. Like, we don't even make a dent. And UFC, this is part of their number events. And geez, wow. Okay. So we are no match to UFC. What's another good one? Let's see, NBA. Got some NBA guys coming in. Shaq. Okay, so other than Spikes, NBA season's over, right? Yeah, NBA season's over, so it doesn't really count. But during the season, let's go further back. Okay, so during the season, NBA is significantly superior to UFC. Okay, let's see for NFL, National Football League. Okay, so it's being projected that NFL is the king. I'm trying to think, what about soccer? I don't think soccer is close. Yeah, okay, so soccer and yeah, soccer and UFC is pretty similar. But okay, so we know for a fact NFL king. So what that tells me is that now we have Tyson Bagent, Travis's son in NFL, having that kind of collaboration potentially at some point. That is very, very helpful. So that kind of helps us make our determination where our focus should be as well. Now, obviously, the number one focus, make sure is we'll have a great production show. But the second thing is, future plans. This will help dictate where we should be going. So I thought that was pretty insightful. Let's see. Year sponsorship and bikini cargo. I tried to reach out to Donnie Cree, the Heineken company. They haven't got back to us. And to be fair, right, we aren't like mainstream yet, so we usually have to go chase these guys down. But when you go mainstream, actually the opposite. Companies would come to us, like say energy drinks companies, like Prime will come in, Celsius will come in, Monster will come in, Red Bull will come in, and then we'll pick the one who offers the highest. It's almost like a bid. It's the opposite direction. But right now we have to go out and chase for sponsorships because we are not quite there yet. So my goal is to, and Robert's as well. Right? Our main thing is to get to the mainstream and then we'll be able to have a lot less worry about chasing down all these sponsorships. Well, but for now, we're happy to have Infinity Functional Performance, Gold Star Coffee, and Grip Arm Sports as our regular sponsors, and our special premium sponsor for our title sponsor for Switzerland is the Triple X Fitness with Luca. So I think it's a nutritional company as well, based in Switzerland. Therefore, we are happy to get whatever we can to help sponsors. So there's that. Card goals. If anything, it won't be in bikini. That's at least that for now. We're still thinking about it. I know, maybe at some point, because I know almost every other promotion has that. But would we sell more pay-per-views with those card goals? I don't know. Sorry. Let's see. Here's another thing. What do you think of cryptocurrency and bitcoins? I think they have a place in the world. I do a lot of businesses online, and there are certain countries where I don't agree with the monetary rules. Don't have to speculate which country, but there are certain countries where the movement of cash is deemed illegal, and it's illegal because of the wrong reasons. And people in that country struggle to do anything else, and cryptocurrency is one of their ways out. But I think cryptocurrency also has certain drawbacks, such as you could lose your entire savings and it's irreversible because you either put it in a pen drive and you trace a wallet and you forgot about it, or you got hacked. It's as simple as that. So I'm a little bit worried of that. So that's why I personally have quite a bit of cryptocurrency, and so all my coins are all everywhere else. It's just stored everywhere separately. So even if one of my wallets is compromised, I don't lose everything. So there's always that fear. But from a standpoint of tokenizations and tying it with real world assets, I think there is some truth to that to a certain level, due to the speed of transfers and verifications of ownership. I think it makes it a lot easier. But at the same time, it will still take a little bit longer. But in my opinion, buy Ethereum, guys. Ethereum, I think, is the way to do it. Bitcoin's great, but in terms of volume and actual usability, Ethereum's the way to do it. So, Hall 1818. Dexter, I'm also curious, what was your original business background before arm wrestling? I mentioned I did study medicine. Got myself I completed my pre-med, worked at a hospital, didn't really like it. Just felt like it was one of those where I don't know. It was a really weird thing, because in the culture that I grew up in, right, you would go from you have good grades, Dexter, just go study medicine, right? And then if you can't do medicine, you become an engineer. You can be an engineer, then you become an attorney, and then an accountant, kind of in that order. Okay. Plus and minus, it just shifts around a little bit. But then, so I was pretty decent in high school. I wouldn't say like top student, but pretty decent in high school. But I grew up in a Commonwealth country, so we have the whole thing. I don't know if you guys watch Harry Potter, and you know what prefect is, right? Like the kind of like the disciplinary student body thing. So I was the president of the head prefect, and I was how they have houses, Gryffindor and Slytherin and whatever, and I was also the house captain, for sports. So I will, so I did a lot of everything, and I was also director of music for the school. So I was a little bit of everything. I was on the debate team. I was on the chess team. So I did a lot of everything, and I was also in the top class. So it's kind of weird. It's like, okay, well, guys, and it's very common in the British system. They'll segregate you. They'll segregate you based on your academic achievements. So if you are like 3.9 to 4.0 GPA, you'll be in class A, and if you're like, 3.7 to 3.9, you'll be in class B. And so they just go down A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. I was in class A, but I was not the top student in A, but I was still somewhere in class A. But because I did everything else, I was awarded a full ride. So I did my pre-med through a Cambridge program. I completed that. I worked at a hospital, and even when I was there, it was kind of a super weird thing, right? They had a special class that you needed to be a 4.0 and full ride student in order to be in that class. So I qualified to be in that class because I was a full ride scholarship student. And these guys are like, they are like geniuses. They're all still pretty good buddies of mine. These guys are first day of school, right? I'm still figuring out where to buy my textbooks, and these guys already have like, professor, it's actually page 5, not page 4. Like, what? Like, they've already read through the textbooks during their winter break or whatever. I'm like, whoa, these guys are next level. And then I'm always the guy who's like kind of relaxed and the social guy in class, talking to people in the middle of a lecture. And then everybody's like, hey, guys, hey, Dexter, I'm paying attention. Let's talk later. Like, oh, okay. So I give you a sense of where I'm at, right? And okay, graduated. I worked at the hospital. Didn't quite super enjoy it. It's not a full blown. It's in the Commonwealth system. We call it A levels. So I finished my A levels, which is the step that you need to get into medical school, right? So I wanted to be a general surgeon because growing up, my dad had 2 kidney transplants. And so the first one failed pretty early, and so I spent a lot of my younger days at the hospital accompanying my dad while he was doing his dialysis for 4 years. And he was, he'll wake up and he'll play chess with me, and then he'll go back to sleep, and I'll just sit there and just chill and wander around the clinic and just see how doctors operate and just listen to nephrologists talking about how things work. So I thought it was okay, yeah, And my dad was always my dad's a business guy, right? So he will sit down and he says, look, every machine charges, example, I don't know what the number is right now. I think it was 600. So it was about $150 per session. So it was like, look, it's 150, 150, 150, 150. And he would just count how many machines, count how many shifts a nurse would work, and it starts multiplying. And he said, dude, you make a lot of money being a nephrologist. So I was like, yeah, I'll be a nephrologist. But maybe I like general surgeon a little bit better because they usually make a little bit more money. So I was like leading to that route, right? But then when I was there, I'm like, geez, I think I'm gonna kill somebody, honestly, because I'm just not the top student. Now, when you see these top students, they're like, they got their scholarship from royal families, that level, right? And I'm competing with these guys, and I'm like, the only class that I beat everybody else was math. I just beat math, but like biology and a lot of things that like pure memorization, I wasn't just quite there yet. And these guys are like great, awesome geniuses that they memorized textbook before the class actually started. Like they were just there to reaffirm and what they've already known. And I'm the guy who's still figuring out where to buy the textbook. See if I could go leech off my, the guy who's sitting right next to me, so I have to buy one and photocopy his textbook, so I have to pay full price. That kind of level. And these guys are like, and so I felt like it wasn't really my style. And then one of my mom's friend, what in our church we have call a missionary. So an elderly couple. He was an engineer, and he was helping build. He was a humanitarian missionary. He built water lines, for the remote villages, right? People were living in tree houses and stuff. So he was getting fresh, clean water to remote villages. That was because he was a civil engineering professor, emeritus professor from none other than BYU. So when he heard about what I was in dilemma. I was like, I'll just go just because I can, and I got a full ride and everything. That's why I did what I did. And then he was like, hey, you want to consider BYU? and it's a great school. And I'm like, okay. So I was the first freshman from Malaysia to attend engineering. Well, just to attend this university there. It was kind of a unique experience. I got there, didn't know what to expect, other than like, okay, well, it's engineering. And so I graduated with a degree in civil and environmental engineering from BYU. Great, and it was great because it was extremely cheap. It's still today, I believe, if you check on US news ranking, it's the number one best value university in America. It is so cheap, and because like I kind of forgo my scholarship, this was the alternative. So it's great price, didn't spend a lot of money, loved it. And I got to work during, I worked anywhere from 16 to 19 hours a week to kind of recuperate some of my costs. So and I used to work a lot I usually work at the food court in the restaurant. So like at burger places, uh, I worked at Subway. So I was a Subway sandwich artist for quite a bit. So that's where but prior to that, I was always interested in food, right? So, but that also I got to work in the food industry a couple of years, and there's a couple of good reasons because we eat anything that we eat in the food court area. It's always half off, including small groceries. Plus, we got to take home. So I usually like to do closing shifts because there's usually a lot of leftovers. So in the food court, for like the campus food court, there'll be a whole bunch of food at the that's left over, and we got to bring all this back. So that's how I got into the food industry. Okay, so upon graduation, I worked for a construction company, one of the largest in Utah. Worked myself all the way up, and then got into a VP position in 10 years. And during then, I've also started several companies prior to that. One of it is actually my game company, which is I started about a year after I graduated, and I just started working full time. And also during that 10 years, I got 2 more masters, working and studying part time. First one was an MBA from the Kelly School of Business. Great program. Encourage everybody to go there. Great connections, the largest business alumni network in the world. People like Mark Cuban has also mentioned that it is the cheapest. Now again, that's a Chinese thing, right? It's the cheapest business school program that's in the top 10. So got my MBA. I felt what MBA really helps is if you are like, a $500 million company, and you want to grow it into like a Fortune 500 company, that's what an MBA is really helpful for. But I also always missing in like, what if it's like taking arm wrestling to the next level, right? Like a brand new startup. So I got back to school. I went back to school for another Master of Science in Entrepreneurship and Corporate Innovation. So that's the official title. And so, okay, so what that kind of teaches me that, and so I encourage everybody to think about it for a second. It is like ideas. Okay, how do we weed out good ideas and bad ideas? Okay, running fouls is an idea. How do we? What is the methodology to consider whether or not we should, and adopt this new? So the methodology comes in many sense, right? Or maybe you have a new business, right? You have a new business idea. You want to open a brand new restaurant, example, or restaurant or whatever, or arm wrestling gym. Okay, anybody who wants to open an arm wrestling gym, what is the first thing you should be doing when you want to open an arm wrestling gym? Okay, everybody is like, well, let's look for locations, and then it's like, well, let's do a business plan first. Okay, I would agree. Let's do a business plan first. Okay, the business plan, you would come and do some sort of preliminary scope of, well, rental rate is $15 a square foot, whatever, right? How big do you need it to be? How many? And then you backtrack your monthly expenses. What is the minimum membership that you need? Now, right. So then you pass it off as you need to do a viability test to see whether or not you can really make money out of this thing. Okay, that's one. So assuming that passes, what's the next thing you do? Do you actually go around and actually sign up? I would say no. So here's an idea for everybody out there. What you do is you get a website ready. Okay, it's almost like a Kickstarter program. Not quite a Kickstarter program. You could do things like, just throwing it out there. You open a website saying that new arm wrestling gym opening soon. Uh, you know, and you put in the city name. Okay, but you have not found any location. You have not signed in the lease yet, but you have a rough idea that you want to open a wrestling gym in your town near you. Okay, then what you do is you ask for if you want a special promotional deal, early bird special, sign up for a newsletter. So based on this newsletter, you can tell how many people are interested. If you're getting like thousands of people signing up for your newsletter, then you know you got a home run. Then you should use this, right? And you go to your friends and neighbors and family and says, guys, look, I've got literally 3,000 people who sign up for my newsletter and they're interested in an arm wrestling gym. Would you guys like to invest in my arm wrestling gym? Assuming you don't have the money. If you have the money, you just go straight ahead and open it up because you have now real world validation. Okay, that's how I would approach if you have any business idea versus jumping straight into opening and crossing fingers. I hope I have enough people. Now, obviously, that's not the only way. You can do surveys. You can ask your friends and family. You're part of a local club. You ask members, hey, I just need 20 guys paying $150 a month to make it sustainable. Do I have 20 guys? And everybody's like, yeah, I'll support you. And because like, okay, well, I have 50 here, so I'm good to go. I'm going to open one, right? So there are other ways, but this is not the only way. But I'm just giving you an idea. Like there's a lot of validation and verification of numbers. Yeah. So then how Robert and so I have a slew of businesses that we invest in. My group invest in, and we just put money at a lot of it is in restaurants, a lot of it is in tech companies. Matter of fact, one of it is with Robert. That's how I got to know Robert really well because our office is, on the same floor of our tech company. And then after spending a lot of time, he was like, dude, I got something going on, which is where I got into business. So that's a little bit longer than usual, but it's Sunday casual night. So there's how I got into arm wrestling. But still, I'm actually still operating a lot of my my other businesses as well. So it's not just arm wrestling quite yet, pure arm wrestling. I do other things, which is why I sleep very little, unfortunately. Yeah. So let's see. Do you think East versus West too many matches model saturate the choices quickly? I don't think so. I think what we need to do is to include more athletes. So if you have only, example, 10 athletes, there's only so many you can rotate around, right? I think you have a maximum of 90 based on statistics. You have it's 10 times 9, right? So you have about 90 combinations before you run out of matches to make, or then you have to start doing repeat matches, right? Now, if you have 11 athletes, now that number went up by 20, but just adding one more athlete, it's right. 11 times 10, yeah. So it's 110 versus 90. So what that shows is the more you add, it kind of starts scaling up pretty high. So I think that's why our new model of trying to partner with every single company other promotions who wants to partner with us, we would be very, very happy to. Now, we need contracts in place. We have athletes who sign an exclusive agreement with us, right? And this will definitely help us because now we can sign in more, and it's part of a bigger group and bigger community. So try to be more inclusive. I did see a few matches. I didn't see all the matches. So I'm not quite sure which one you're referring to. Let's see. I've thought about bringing the matches down to 6 or 7. We are going to be, I think the first one will be Atlantic City. We'll be implementing a prelim version. So a preliminary match where some of it on a free channel in the afternoon, and in the evening it will be the pay-per-view model. So the pay-per-view model won't be as long. Just so what it is. Let's see. So any word on why WAF athletes that are banned for steroids aren't allowed at EVW when Levan and Devon are the head of the sport league? It makes no sense to me. Okay. So I was told that Svertan is banned because he competed against Asan with another league from Bulgaria. Jordan was suspended because of drugs. So I need more clarification. But that's at least what they just got back to me. So let's see. East vs West need year-round stories, not just event highlights. I would love to come up with storylines. Potentially. I mean, you're not wrong. So I got a really, really big announcement to make, but it's not super official yet. Not super official. And until it's official, I don't want to speculate. And this would be a really, really exciting news. But I'm gonna save it for next week because we are coming up with a really, really, I think everybody in the community, well, I mean 99% of the community, that's never 100%. 99% of the community will love this. So stay tuned, group and focus for next week because it has something to do with year-round stories, and it'll blow people's mind away. So this would be pretty good. It'll be international. As soon as the model is proven, then we'll do it year-round. And there's also ideas, right? When we partner with other smaller leagues and promotions of other natures, and they, not everybody on the card will be just EVW athletes, right? I mean, they'll have some from their local community and whatnot, because we won't dictate all their matches for sure. And then you'll be able to pick up like, dude, that guy's pretty strong. He just like wreck so and so pretty easily. Maybe he deserves a shot at EVW, but maybe not on our main stage. Maybe on the prelim matches. So we might invite him to the prelim matches. So that's why this whole model would be international. Then there are a couple of reasons why we are not starting with Switzerland. Number one, it's because we are sharing with the Swiss Open, and we're just worried we don't have enough time to get everything ready for having the prelims. So that's one. Second reason is that we need to make sure that our main pay-per-view is super legit and it's everything runs perfectly, better or greater or equal to Colorado. So that's why we don't want to add too many new components as of right now, because we have to switch from YouTube and then we'll switch back to our main our app platform. So we got to be a little bit careful over there. But the idea behind that is, yes, we do have we want to do it in US where we have a little bit better control with the team that we've worked with, right? Whereas international, we are working with a team that we've never worked before, other than the heads of the department. So, the ground guy who's clicking the buttons and everything, that's completely new. And that's the challenge, but we've got to do this. But so we got to take a lot more time to plan. I've authorized that the production team gets to come in 2 days earlier, so that I have more time to plan and prepare. Yeah, actually I've seen NBAs on the decline. Houdini Sports, you're right. Oh, is this song? I even forgot that the sound is bothering. Is I hate that song. Okay, well, let's see what I have. You know what? I'll just turn this off. Actually, I don't know if I need song. Let's see. Travis's son got in the game today. Think he completed a couple passes. Way to go, Tyson. Way to go. Way to go. Let's see. Is New York a place of interest for an EVW event? Well, I think Atlantic City, it's a lot more feasible. I think partially it's because of the cost, perhaps. I mean, it's not too crazy far from New York too. So right now, I think if anything, it would be Atlantic City versus New York. Yes, it's still in the works. It's those kind of things takes a lot of time because there's a lot of audit that needs to go through, making sure that we are a reputable company, that we will not do any match fixing because that will completely screw them up. So that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. It's been donkey years since I actually played chess in a serious manner. I did just play it a couple of months ago when Devon was came to town, and I got wrecked badly by him. So, and he's I believe Devon's 1300 on a bad day. Smelling salt manufacturer energy drinks. Yeah, I mean, so it's easier said than done. I mean, getting sponsors is not quite as easy. I mean, Brian Shaw also couldn't get uh, Celsius. I think people were saying Celsius didn't renew, much less us. Because we are technically newer than him. But I think in time, as I said, once we get up there, we'll get up there. And a lot of people will start begging to come to us. But what I always like to say is, I always will remember people who have helped us when we were still small. So so while we are still small, support us. Because we're still nowhere close to UFC. But while we're still small, support us, and I won't forget. Um, let's see. And okay, okay. So there's this whole nonsense that's been flying around, absolute nonsense that's been flying around, that a league that I shall refuse to give credit to, uh, or any more attention that they deserve, has alluded that Levan and Alizhan polling left, and they are absolutely nuts. We sent a message to Levan's like, dude, what was happening? And he was very, very frustrated. Very frustrated. He was like, he was mad. He was mad with all these rumors coming up from their camp. He was mad. He's like, he was visibly mad. So that's not happening. And also for everybody else to kind of know that our contract you usually specify hands, but irregardless of the hands, everything else like a non-compete and exclusive contracts, clause in there does not does not only have rights to a certain hand. None of Matter of fact, even like Ali Jan, the only thing that we'll do with his contract, because he's a left hand specialist, is that we will specify if he pulls left on, he'll get more money, a lot more money than if he pulls right, that sort of things. And sometimes our clause would have certain special thing. If it's a world title match, they get extra win bonuses. So there's a lot of things that goes on, and it's athletes to athletes. And also, just to clarify, we love Alijan. We love Alijan. Matter of fact, Robert really loves Alijan. Robert really knows Alijan's dad really well, surprisingly, back in the day. So there's a lot of respect for the Muratov's family, quite a bit. So I think there is a little bit of miscommunication, to be honest. He was offered 20% more for his contract renewal. And for Switzerland, it was special. Robert offered him 40% more, but he didn't. He was given the wrong information. He was told that, well, Devon and Levan makes that much, way much. So maybe I should make this much. So he was asking for less than Devon and Levan. But the problem was, this number was incorrect. It's very far from the truth. So he was given the wrong number. So he was basing his renegotiation with the wrong number. He was thinking that we are flush with cash, and that's not correct. So we're getting to him, and he agreed to to pull with us. The numbers kind of not set yet. We're still negotiating with him, but he absolutely wants to pull the best. And right now, all the best are still and will be in East versus West. So because of that, we are not worried he's going anywhere else, because all the best are under contract, and he will sign. So that's kind of the understanding. man, I mean, all these kind of it's a very irresponsible kind of thing to be making us, misleading people. Really, I think that's very unprofessional. Which is why, like, even the announcement that I really want to make until it's finalized. You know what? I'll make that announcement only when it's final and confirmed. So stay tuned for next Sunday. Next Sunday is going to be a blast. So the other thing, it's also like I want to reiterate to people, like the stuff that's spewing out from the camp, right? It's ridiculous. 4 events a year and 6 matches. What kind of nonsense is that, right? So that's another thing that I have to still tell athletes: no, 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 no. That's not true. We will have more and more matches. We will have more and more events, maybe more than ever with all our partners. So that's another kind of misleading, or technically that's a direct lie of what we are trying to achieve. So um let's see. I'm still on the holdout, hoping Federer shows up to the event. Maybe he has his tennis elbow, so he can compete. Just throwing it out there. No, if we ever go back to Atlantic City, it would not be at Bailey's again. We'll have somewhere else. I'll buy an ad space to support. All right. If you want to, honestly, guys, if you want to sponsor something, right? Don't tell me it's like $20 or 100. If it's of a decent amount, we'll work something out. I'm super flexible. If it's just one video, if it's promoting something of yours, I'm happy to do so. We'll talk. Message me on Facebook or Instagram. Happy to just chat or email me. Really, Dexter at EVW Sports. We'll talk. It doesn't have to be a big amount. I think but obviously I need to be fair with all my other uh as advertisers, right? So if they paid X amount and you paid this amount, you can't really have the same. Then it's not really fair to them. So, but we'll figure something else out. I'll make sure that you guys get your bang for your buck. I thought Levan and Gennady were friends? No more. I don't know. I don't know. Georgians are like brothers, not friends. Honestly, I can't say for sure. But sometimes friends also needs to be reasonable, and they have to think for themselves, right? They need to pull the best, and they need to get paid. So yes, talks are going pretty well. Talks are going pretty well. Alizhan is fantastic. I mean, his character is always nice. He doesn't speak same languages, but you could tell by his demeanor, he's a very, very nice guy. Very, very nice guy. I love him. Um, they, GB19. What happened really? Did they announce a match or just hinted in a comment? They hinted in a comment. Yeah, but it was so irresponsible because that wasn't happening. Uh, here, let's see what are my announcement. Oh, guys, did you check this out? I'm gonna show you guys another very cool thing that we did in the past week. Okay, let's see. Share screen, and this time I'll remember to add to stage. If you go to east-sports.com, there are a couple things that we've added. Okay. I don't know what this is. There is a chatbot right now. See, where can I buy the pay-per-view? Let's just see if it works. It's obviously taking a while. Here it is. The chatbot. I don't know if it's cool, but that's, and kudos to the team for putting this together. Chatbot, and can I get a refund? You can just ask whatever questions in there. Like, there's that. Now, if you don't think, or if you're just absolutely free and you decide to go check this out, right here on the top right, there's a FAQ page. Okay. FAQ page. There are a ton of questions that has has that is in there. Are your events family friendly? Let's click that. Yes, EVW are designed to be enjoyable for all ages. Blah blah blah. Okay. Do you allow media coverage? Boom, right here. Right. Applications can include details of your media platform, audience reach, intended coverage. So there's a lot of questions here. Okay. Yeah. This. So we took the time to kind of answer all these, and so maybe before emailing us, you could come check this out and ask about pets. It's like only service animals are permitted at EVW Sports event. Please bring proper identifications for your service animal. I know in some places there is no proper identification other than technically a sign on their back, right? But I mean, for places that has those, we would probably want those. The thing it's a little bit of a liability thing, because what happens is the crowd starts cheering and yelling, and the dog, like a dog starts freaking out and starts biting every guy because he's also freaking out. So that's why we have what those are. But yeah, so I mean, we're doing a lot of things that we are trying to um, you know kind of level up a little bit. And hosting your chatbot sucks. No, that's funny. But for the most part, we are any comments, let me know. Let me know. Any suggestions, let me know. I would love to see how we can improve, right? How we can make it look more official, nicer, professional, just leveling up all our operations. That's at least where I can make a small little dent. All right. We also have uh oh this is the other thing. This one, right? So you saw our results. I don't know if you guys seen this results tab a little bit. This results tab soon. One of the things that we're working on is the ability to click on the name and in seeing the history of all their prior matches and their opponents and the outcome, arm and weight and everything. So that will take a while. That will take a little bit while because it's a lot of data entry. Unfortunately, it's very manual work. That's gonna be that'll be a while, but that's also in the works, right? We will have one more tab here soon with the rankings. So rankings for um, every match. No, sorry, of every weight category, every arm, and every gender. So that's also coming. Hopefully, maybe this week. Now, I hope you guys don't hold me to a gun on that, but because something might come up and we have to like put this on the back burner because it's not completely you know time sensitive and critical. But we have plans to release the full matches, and also part of that is releasing our methodology on determining rankings. So everything's going to be out there, public. Another question I have is, I think having athletes highlight clips or intro highlights on the website would be cool. You're not wrong. I just have to figure out one component. I'll give you an example. So one of my buddy who is a CTO of a massive company, right? In his website, he he's the actually he's one of the guys who consult with me on the tech stuff from time to time. But he owns this company. Uh, okay, you see this video, right? And he was just showing me the numbers, like how much data is being used, and he was telling me it's in the petabyte range, right? And if you know anything about bandwidth, they pay a ton of money because it's a video. So just letting you know, hosting video is not the easiest. Now, obviously, there are ways, there are workarounds. Perhaps if you hosted the video on YouTube or one of the other video like Daily Motions or something like that, you could host it there and then have what they call a card, and this card itself would actually just autoplay. It's not quite as seamless, but it is possible. So just showing, just throwing out that there are ways to go around it, but it is. I agree. Video is always cooler, but with a lot of traffic, kind of get it kind of painful. So yeah, while we are at this, everybody like, share, and subscribe. Share is actually the most important thing besides like and subscribe. Um, Alizhan said under old contract that he was promised 6 matches over the course of 1.5 years. That's contradicting the new business model. Makes no sense to me. Can you clarify the point there? So in the past, and also I think there is also that concern people need to understand. Now, not this is not just specific to Alizhan, right? The contract states that if we offer you a match and you don't accept that, that counts as one of your matches that that we promised. Okay. Example, usually this is very prevalent uh, with certain athletes that have injuries. So if they're injured, how can we possibly fulfill the contract? It's not our fault that you got injured doing training or whatever, right? So those are like exceptions. So the 6 matches, it is or so, different athletes have different contracts, and that's why it's the number of matches is usually in there. And what happens with the number of matches is that now that we have other promotions, right? Example, right? I think that's the Bye Bye Cup, or um, I cannot mention certain names because we're still finalizing details. Assuming, right? Say a new event, UFC wants to have an arm wrestling component, right? We call it UAW, right? They won't have a promotion. They have a promotion, a super match coming up, and they want Alizhan to pull one of, say, I don't know, Ukraine's top guy, whatever. Okay, so yeah, we'll have Alizhan pull in their event, right? It's an EVW branded event. We get some level of publicity. uh Alijan, it counts towards one of Alijan's matches as well. On top of one of our EVW number event. You see what I'm saying? So athletes don't just pull in our matches. Athletes also can pull at our EVW partner event. That's what I'm saying. We will have a lot more events because there's a lot more promotions and events out there other than just EVW. There's only so much manpower that we have right now at our current moment to be able to host as many events as we have. So partnering with other people, it doesn't. It may seem like a middle ground between having exclusive rights to all the athletes' events, but at the same time ensuring that they have the matches fulfilled by allowing them to go pull at other partner programs. So there's that. Yeah, petabytes is no joke. Let's see. I keep trying to rebrand it for paramoting, but I don't want to lose my check mark. I'm not sure what that is. Sometimes I'm just like reading things on the fly. Singapore is after no. Switzerland is Singapore. Actually, I'm not sure. Singapore Open. I think it's after. Yeah, I believe it's after. It is the end of November, if I remember correctly. Hello, Dexter. Are you guys following WAF Worlds? Any interesting athletes got your all's attention? Matter of fact, our top person, our matchmaker, Snazana, is there. She's like binoculars and a notepad and, just jotting things down, making top notes. I'm not, I don't want to pose as an arm wrestler. So if I look at something, I may not fully and grasp. Matter of fact, I was just having a small debate with one of our staff member, and he was like, "Oh, that match is so close." I'm like, "That doesn't seem very close, right?" And then it's just one of those. But so I'm not very experienced. I shouldn't be the one who's making those calls, but I am following a little bit. people have been sending me, hey, check this match out. It's from WAF. It's check out the WAF youth, for instance, right? This youth match, and I'm like, oh, okay, So so I'm following a little bit, but not like religiously, because that's not kind of where I'm supposed to be focusing my attention on. My focus is making sure pay-per-views are great, making sure the team that my team hires, because I hired a team based out of Dubai to hire the team in Switzerland, right? Making sure, just overseeing that, they don't go crazy on the budget, right? They don't go nuts on the production side. They they have at least the bare minimum cameras that we need, etc. So I told them to study everything about Colorado. I told them to study everything that um uh our past matches, and I want the correct camera angle. So the our roaming camera guy, Aaron, he's going to be there because that's a very technical position. You need to know when to stand, and when to lean over. So that one's a little bit tricky. So that's the one that we're keeping and we're flying. But all the stationary cameras and table cameras, that's not going away. So those one are easier because they that there's only so much that they can manipulate. So that one will be on Swiss side. There's that. Will there be another event with Brian after the event bomb and lost money? Well, I mean, he's not hosting another event from it. What I mean, he's saying he's not thinking of hosting another event because he lost money. So I mean, that's what it is, I guess, right? But this is also the same thing that after looking at all the trend lines and whatnot, it doesn't seem like strongman's the only path to having a good collaboration with. So UFC is probably one of them. uh NFL, NBA, whatever we can collaborate with. I mean, oftentimes what I see is, hey, get iShow speed. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. But I mean, he's one of the athlete type influencers. I just don't want him to break his arm, and then that would be real damaging, and it will set us back years and years because somebody gets hurt because he was doing something dumb. But you know, but in the first place, can we even get him? So so I'm always looking for collaborative ideas on how we can get uh you know any type of influencers, anybody notable, celebrities, and not necessarily poll on our events, but participate somehow. Maybe being a special guest. Maybe the week leading up to the event, that person just mingles, have a whole bunch of videos with all our athletes. Do some practice pulls on the opposite arm, that kind of things, and he or she, sorry, he or she benefits from getting some specialized content. uh but at the same time, it's just something that we get from their popularity. If they it's like, a lot of people, actually, even long before I got to arm wrestling, I actually saw Devon's video, but I didn't know who Devon was. I just saw one video of like, oh, he got pushed and then like he beat the guy, and it was like, look at me, buddy, look at me. Those were like crazy good videos that help at least introduce what arm wrestling is to the masses. And so, remember my initially, I said the rule of thumb of three, right? If they saw Devon's video, they saw another influencer's video, when they're arm wrestling, and then they see our video, then they'd be like, what's this sport? I gotta go check them out, right? So it's just one of those that really adds on and adds on to their belief, and then they'll actually go look into what arm wrestling is about. So that's why I think, if you guys know of any influencers, of any ideas, who we should be partnering with, let me know. I'll be very, very happy to contact them and see what we can do something together. Um, any new info uh, on the next event venue location after Switzerland? Yes, it'll be in North America. We have not finalized anything yet, but when we do, you guys will be first to know about it. Right now, we are looking into somewhere in the East Coast. At one point, we were looking at Canada, but man, the visas are just absolutely challenging, and we will need time. We need a lot of time to plan for Canada, but it'll be in somewhere in the East Coast, and we are targeting December 13th right now as our dates. So save, bookmark that date and don't plan for anything else. Don't tell your brother to get married on a different day if it's on December 13th. The reason I say that is because I'm actually not going to be around. My younger brother is getting married in Hong Kong on December 13th. So me and my family, I have to prioritize that, right? It's a once in a lifetime thing, hope, right? And so I will actually won't be able to make it, but I'll be there in spirit. Um, let's see. Sylvester Stallone. Yes, we actually do have his number. Uh, we have all his contact information. We're just waiting for the right time where the pieces fits, and then I'll reach out to him to make sure that we do get indeed Sylvester on board, something like that. Yeah, I show speed, guys. As great as that sounds, it's probably gonna be very expensive. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be very very expensive to get those guys. You know, and it'll be challenging, but I wouldn't say no. I will figure a way out to message. Maybe I'll have Devon message them. Devon or Jody, if you guys are watching this channel, help me message I Show Speed, will you? Because that guy's just blowing up. I was just randomly watching and just browsing, and I Show Speed. He's so popular that he's making money while he's sleeping. His live stream is almost like 24/7, where there is a camera streaming him sleeping. That's it. It's such a weird thing, and he'll have thousands and thousands of people just watching him sleep. That is, and I Show Speed really knows how to make the crowd riled up. Yeah, that's the pretty cool part. He knows how to go nuts. Uh, let's see. Did Brian lose on arm wrestling or just strongman? Having the event on Friday and then the pay per view going down is a very good reference on profit and loss. Uh, I don't know any numbers on the strongman side, but alluding to what he's saying, that on the sponsorship side, it's mostly on the strongman. So I think he was referencing mostly on the strongman about not having sponsors on the strongman side. Arm wrestling was a new thing, so he didn't lose any arm wrestling sponsors because it's his first. Matter of fact, I think he brought in Nice Rock. Undefined Nutrition is his own company, and then the rest is Grip Arm, Infinity, and Gold Star Coffee. Those are our sponsors. So I'm not quite sure on the strongman side, but I don't know if he took what they were some people were alluding to, that they took strongman money and gave it to arm wrestlers. No, 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 no. Absolutely did not do it, because everything on our side, we are responsible for half of it, and we get to see all the P&L. So yeah, Speed seems like he likes helping out the little guy. Maybe reach out to his manager, just have him come hang out at the next US event. He would stream live the entire thing from. If he comes, oh my goodness, that will be amazing. Yeah, massive exposure, really, massive exposure, and then now everybody knows where to go, and hopefully we have uh we have some way of being able to monetize, well, like capitalize when he does come. So all these needs like good planning. Like, yeah, Stallone will come, but if Stallone comes, he'll probably only come for one event in his life. We want to make sure it's like a over the top reunion party, right? Where we have partnerships with the Diesel brothers. They'll supply a custom semi truck to give away to the champion, those sort of things, right? We got to be really selective on when we use this, when we pick up the phone, right? If I Show Speed comes, we need to have a good plan. So uh so I have connections with Chatri. Okay, yeah, that Thai guy who's from one FC. I know him. Matter of fact, my I've I'm only generation away, well, once removed, to getting his information. I actually got his email contact. I was thinking of it when the time comes. When the time comes, there is only one thing that I'm a little concerned is that ONE FC, which is like, I don't know, maybe potentially the second biggest MMA promotions in the world behind UFC, but it's still quite distant. They are in massive debt, so I'm not sure, if there's any room for collaboration. But yeah, that's that is on my thing. Let's see. Uh, are you allowed to use over the top as the name of an event in case you get Stallone? Those are those for sure. We have, yeah. So one of the companies that Robert and I are involved in is a medical tech company, med tech company, or tech med company, as they would say. So we have attorneys who are very well versed with intellectual properties, and they usually help consult on the side for EVW. So anytime we need an EVW, legal matters, the general counsel, they'll come in and step in. So we'll make sure everything's super legal. We never want to, you know, do anything funny. So we'll definitely make sure that those are legal. And I think it would be absolutely great if we get we get some of the old cast there as special guests and whatnot. I think that would be pretty cool. I mean I don't know where that young boy is right now, but I'm sure he'll be a great addition to everything. Um, let's see. How about Dad Move League? I don't know. Maybe you want to explain a little bit more. Have Stallone make a second movie where his grandson played by Ricard, comes back to America to stay with his grandfather and compete. I actually have seen storylines. I mean, at one point, Drew Gallagher and I we did kind of toy around with like, hey, should we bring this and pitch it to a couple of studios? Because I mean, he's a Hollywood guy, right? That would be pretty cool. But haven't really got that far. Now, I also would like just want to remind everybody, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Super cool. I love you guys. I always enjoy doing this Sunday type, Sunday like casual. I learn a lot from you guys, and it's educate me, please. I would really love to kind of learn more from you guys who have been in the sport for a lot longer time than me. I hope that I continue to strive to gain your guys' trust to to help push the sport to greater levels. So till then, kudos and for all you guys for taking this your precious Sunday night to come support me and listen to what I say. Come with questions next week, and I will try to be as transparent as I can. There are certain things that are obviously private and confidential, but I'll do my best. So till then, another thing though, right? Nobody still got where I live correctly, and I already gave you a hint. It's this is a trick question, but it's about 5-10 minutes away from the tallest twin towers in the world. So yeah, good night, everybody. Have a good day. And again, if those people who did not catch this video, this live stream, I'm always trying to be about 9 p.m. Eastern, plus or minus half an hour, right? On a regular basis. But if you miss this, it's fine. Especially if you're in Europe, put your questions down in the comments. I will spend the next few days just monitoring the comments and trying to answer all the questions. So thank you very much and have a good night.